Good morning. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. At this time, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a verification of the posting of the agenda, please?
Pam Moore for the record. Oh, I didn't write it down. Let me look when I posted it. The agenda was posted on March 1st between the hours of 2 and 4 at all of the locations listed on the agenda in accordance with statutes.
Thank you, Pam. This is going to be a revised agenda. We're going to remove item number I. It's a duplicate of H. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as revised?
I move to approve the agenda as revised.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 6, consideration possible action, approval of the minutes of the meeting held on February 16th, 2024, canvass of the votes, and February 22nd, 2024, budget hearing. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of February 16th and February 22nd, 2024.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Appointments, 7A, consideration possible action, application for abandonment filed by Ralph and Deborah Mills for property located at 4572 B. Ann Way, assessor parcel number 006-231-69 to abandon the 60-foot road easement and related parallel easement that currently extends across parcel 10 and lies east of the existing turnaround, as shown on the map document number 408057, Churchill County Records. Dean?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, County Commissioners. Dean Patterson, Public Works and Planning for the record. With me is Savannah Dukes, our planning tech. Not sure if you've met her yet, but Savannah Dukes, Planning Commissioners. Sorry, County Commissioners. So what we have a number of applications with you today. The first one here is an abandonment request by Ralph Mills, sitting by my side. He is requesting to abandon the end of B. Ann Way, which is his family's cluster development project, and this request would terminate a road passing through the property that was planned for connection eastward and connecting at some future date when development on other parcels was completed. It was purposefully created. The applicant made this request a little over a year ago. Actually, I guess it was more closer to 2 years ago. The county commissioners, the road supervisor, the public works director, and the planning commission recommended denial at that time. The county commissioners had a long conversation at the hearing with Mr. Mills, and they recommended that he withdraw the application for the time being, and he had plans to build a dairy north of the abandonment site, and that would affect some of the connections with other roads. So Mr. Mills has now, I'm sorry, yeah. So Mr. Mills has resubmitted and now would like to make his request again. So that was kind of the background. Since that last hearing, the Mills family have removed a conservation easement that would have connected to the north. Is it, do I need to do something to it, Pam?
I had to move my mouse. Go ahead.
Oh. And actually, if you can show the B. Ann Way road, it should be on one of the other pictures. There you go. So is this thing going to work? Well, I'll just describe it verbally. So the the cloud area is the portion that's under consideration. The farm lot to the north was under conservation easement, And then there's another farm lot adjacent to it, which is the site of where Mr. Mills would like to put his dairy. It is near Chavez Way, which extends from Scheckler Road southward and ends at some home sites. Chavez, and now I think it's been changed to Farmer, yeah. Farmer Way could have extended down along the property line to this location and connected to the end of BBN Way. Now the Mills are building a dairy which will obstruct that path. This road could also connect eastward through a couple farm lots to Lima Lane. And for that reason, the Public Works Director and Road Supervisor and Planning Commission still recommend denial for this application. The details are found in the staff report, and I will let Mr. Mills, if the county commissioners are inclined to approve this, there are recommended conditions of approval to make sure it happens right, so that all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed. And with that, I'll let Mr. Mills talk.
Correct, it's parcel 10.
Parcel 10 block the road towards Lima Road?
Well, parcel 10 is the parcel that the easement currently goes through. It dead ends into the farm parcel where we're currently building the dairy.
Okay.
To access Lima Road would require extension through that parcel and then through, across the irrigation ditch, across the drain ditch, across another irrigation ditch, and another drain ditch at the other end of the road to actually get to Lima.
Have you already started the barn?
Dirt work's been excavated. Finally, we're hopefully that first of next month, the contractor says they'll have 20 people on site to start the actual construction.
Question, Dean, the road isn't completed through, but is the easement continue all the way through to make the connection?
The road infrastructure has not, so.
Right, but the easement exists all the way to
Correct.
the other road,
Right.
across those items.
No, it dead ends at the end of parcel 10. There's no easement across the rest of the parcels, which we own 2 of, so.
So it extends through parcel 10 and ends at the edge of parcel 10. It does not keep going. Is that what you're wondering?
Yeah, that's what I was
Oh, okay,
asking.
sorry.
The easement, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You could go ahead with your presentation.
No worries. That is primarily when we had extensive discussions on this. Our goal is to, in addition, it enhances the buildable area of parcel 10 is to preserve agriculture in the area. And with the zoning that is currently active in that area, the feasibility of a road through to Lima Lane is cost prohibitive, based on my opinion of knowing what BBN Way cost me to put in with a limited number of lots so they're accessible. I don't see that unless there's a major rezoning of that area to be a feasible extension of a road.
Anything else either one of you guys wanted to add on that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't catch that.
Anything else you want to add?
No, that was it.
Any questions from board or staff?
Yeah, Dean, what would be the purpose of maintaining it, of the easement?
So that some future date we'll have a path through this large block of the county that reaches from, Ralph, which road does this connect to? I can't
St.
remember.
Clair.
St. Clair over to Lima Lane.
Okay.
Anything else anyone wants to add? Questions?
So
Road.
parcel 10 right now is just farmland, is that what it is? Is there,
Buildable
Yeah,
lot,
we're currently
correct?
farming it, although we've taken.
but it is buildable for,
It's buildable.
housing.
Yeah, we're planning on building a house on it.
so if we build a house on it, we need that easement there? Is that,
Right now, they would have to build a house north of the easement, so right around where the
Right.
letters parcel 10, it would be in that location. They couldn't build it in the south portion of the lot.
but
'Cause,
if
I mean,
it
that's
goes away, then the road would pretty much disappear, right?
That road would be
Yeah.
ceased, that would dead end right there at Lot 10.
Right there,
Whereas
yeah.
right now, we
It could
could
never
continue
be-
it past.
If the easement goes away, then the entire, or not the entire, but a lot more of the lot would be buildable. You could have structures in the old easement path.
But the road would stop pretty much right there.
And the road it currently stops and has a cul-de-sac, and it would not go any further after that.
Would this be a county road that we would need to maintain?
Right now, BB Way is a county-maintained road, so what a future road would be is kind of up to the Highway Commission and whether it's accepted into the maintenance program, but it often is, since it would connect from one major road to the next.
Any other questions? I guess my comment on this is that in order for this future road that we're talking about to happen, we'd have to cross 3 parcels, I think, and just, as Mr. Mills stated, I mean, the density out there isn't there. That's not really, in my eyes, that's not where I wanted to see planned growth. It's way out in the middle of farm ground. I think we should stick to where our opportunity zone is, closer to town. So that's my comment. If there's no other questions, can I get?
No,
go
but the
ahead.
growth is already there because you already put, they've already.
You already have that from a cluster
They already
development.
made a previous one. They've already put in a plan to build out there.
But that's a cluster development that your family did, how many years ago?
No, there was just one recently, wasn't there, that we approved? Out there on Lima Lane?
I'm sorry, because of the acoustics, I can't really hear what.
Well,
your
there was a housing
conversation-
development that was approved out there
On Lima
before,
Lane,
on
yeah.
Lima Lane.
That was another cluster development, though.
Right, but it was these lots just like that you see right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it was I mean, that's cluster
What are you
development.
talking
so
about
then
cluster?
well, cluster development, you sacrifice some of your other property to put in 1-acre lots like this one was.
Right.
So I believe the Mills family put in this cluster development however many years ago.
2007, yeah.
Yeah, and the other one further down on Lima was the same thing, a cluster development. So you preserve a large majority of your farm ground, and in lieu of that, you can put up some lots up front, even though the zoning may be A10.
But they've already requested those lots be approved previously too within the last year.
On Lima Lane?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's already planned for development.
This isn't, no.
Well, that whole area is.
Well, yeah, it's already parceled out, yes.
Right.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion, please?
I move to deny the request to abandon a portion of the BB Ann Way Road easement and parallel easements that pass through parcel 10 of the third cluster development parcel, map for Ralph P. and Deborah K. Mills, document number 408057, assessors parcel number 006-231-69, and those that lie east of the existing road turnaround.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
I'll be a nay, Pam. Thank you, guys. Moving on to appointment 7B, consideration possible action. An application for a zone change filed by Jared Card and Jesus Mascarena for multiple properties located at the intersection of Carson Highway and Beasley Drive. Assessor parcel number 007-171-52, 007-171-53, 007-171-54, and 007-171-74, consisting of 4.26 acres in the C1 zoning district, whereby the applicant is requesting a zone change for the parcel from C1 to industrial. Churchill County is also including the 2 remaining C1 zoned adjacent properties in this request. The first being APN 007-171-56, owned by the Gallant and Margaret Hines, totaling approximately .049 acres, and the second being the portion of US 50 passing through or adjacent to the affected properties. Such consideration may include changing the zoning district to one that allows less intensive range of use. Dean.
Thank you. Dean Patterson, Public Works and Planning for the record. So this is an application. I guess the best way to illustrate the situation is look at the picture. It is with north down, by the way. You can see the small lots on the south side of the highway. Those are the Card properties and the Wells Cove properties. For some reason, they've long ago been zoned as C1, which is retail commercial, and yet all of the development out there is heavy commercial or industrial. So this is kind of an outlying zone. Mr. Card got approval for a special use permit recently, and it was learned that this discrepancy for the zoning existed, and it turns out he is operating a trucking business in the C1 zone, which is not allowed. His application was contingent on fixing the zoning so that he could operate, and staff supported this proposal. And so he has now submitted a rezone request to change the C1 zoning to be consistent with the adjacent industrial land. Strangely, that would have left one small slice of C1 zoning that's privately owned, as well as the highway right-of-way. So staff recommended that those be included in the zone change as well, and those owners have been notified. I think that pretty well summarizes the request. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Do you have anything to add on your application?
No.
Okay. Is there any public comment? Any questions from board or staff?
Dean, what side of the highway is this on? Is this on
Oh,
North?
I'm sorry, that's, this is right at Leetville Junction, so this is on the Carson Highway portion.
Is it on the north side? Right
It's
where
on
the-
the
It is the north.
Where they have,
yeah.
where you guys have been
So it's-
moving?
What was
Where I
that?
think where Walker, is that where it's at? Where the
Walker Lake's on the south side, we're on
south
the north side.
You're on the north side?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where it is.
What is the box under C1? Is that a C1 also?
All of the light orange color is C1. And
Okay.
Mr. Card has the other properties listed like C2 all around, or industrial, or A10 around.
So you want the C1s turned into industrial?
Staff is recommending that the Card and Wells Cove properties and the highway be zoned industrial because they're surrounded on three sides. The little triangle of remaining C1, we would recommend be C2 because it is right next to the C2 at the top of the picture.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve A, the zoning map amendment requested by Jared Card. And I don't, how do you pronounce his last name? Mascarena, Jesus Mascarena. Change the zoning on assessor's parcel number 007, 17152, 007, 17153, 007, 17154, and 007, 17179 from C1 to industrial, and B, to change in zoning the adjacent US 50 right-of-way from C1 to industrial, and C, a change in zoning for assessor's parcel 007, 17156, owned by Heinz, from C1 to C2.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to appointment C, consideration possible action, a reversion to acreage map application filed by Allen Hughes and other property owners, which would revert properties located in Block 52 of the Hazen Town Site map in conjunction with the request to abandon adjacent streets and alleys related to assessor parcel numbers 010-291, 02, 04, 06, 07, 08, 09, and APN 009-251-74, totaling 22.47 acres in the A10 and industrial zoning district, whereby the applicant proposes to combine multiple lots within their ownership to a smaller number of lots along with adjacent abandoned right-of-ways. Dean?
I just wanted to clarify whether this was listed as two items in the agenda. It is, can I request that both items be heard at the same time? Is that acceptable?
Yep, that'll work.
Okay.
We'll do two separate motions still, but we can
Okay.
present them all the
As you
same.
see fit, the tricky part is that they're so closely related that they either need to be approved together, they need to be both approved, or if one is not, then it will complicate the conditions of approval, and then it should probably be sent back to the PC to work out details. So anyway, this is a reversion to acreage and abandonment of a number of parcels in the Hazen area. The old town site map style of developing parcels was to create lots of little parcels, and then an owner would buy as many as they want. That doesn't work well with today's mode of development. So there's two applications. One is a reversion to acreage. That is to merge existing lots together. The other is an abandonment of multiple rights-of-way surrounding the properties. And so those would be merged into those lots, and so that kind of increases the complexity of these proposals. If you're aware of the of the Omaha Track property, they previously went through this process. So they merged all those lots and then abandoned the rights away, and now they have the large industrial property that they work on. So as I mentioned, this has involved a lot of complexity that's described in the staff report, and especially involves timing of which things go first, followed by which other things. The staff, the utility companies, the county surveyor, the road supervisor, they've all recommended approval of both of these projects. The roads that are being abandoned are not developed. They don't serve any properties. All the resulting properties will have access from remaining roads, so there's not a problem there. The details are too much to summarize here, so I will just leave it at that and point out that, again, the recommended conditions of approval are combined for both applications, and they deal with the complexities and timing issues I was referring to. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Did you have anything you wanted to add, Mr. Hughes, I
No,
assume?
not at this time.
Any questions from board or staff?
And Dean, it's going to stay A10 when we combine it.
Correct.
Does this include where the grocery store is?
The grocery store is like a half a block away, so it does not include that
It
space,
doesn't.
correct.
Is there any public comment on this? Any other questions, comments?
I wanted it to be included. But,
Well,
Okay.
it can be,
It's
because there's
not.
other people involved, other
okay.
properties.
Can I get a motion, please?
I move to approve the reversion to acreage application for Allen Hughes, Julie Scott, Shona Williams, and TRP Properties for multiple properties included in this application. And that if approved, the combined conditions of approval for abandonment and reversion to acreage that are listed in the staff report be required.
Second.
That's the first.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Do the next one.
Yep. I'll read number D real quick, and then we'll just skip to the motion. An application for abandonment of easements filed by Allen Hughes and other property owners to abandon multiple rights-of-way within the Hazen Town Site Map, document number 931, lying adjacent to the petitioner's land, which are not developed with roads. The right-of-ways are A, Utah Street extending east of Hazen Avenue to Tahoe Avenue, B, Tahoe Avenue between Nevada Street and Utah Street, and C, the alley located between Nevada Street and Utah Street, extending between the Hazen Avenue and Tahoe Avenue. Adjacent properties are APN, just double check, 010-291-02-04-06-07-08-09, and APN 009-251-74. Is there any public comment on this one? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the request to abandon county road right-of-way lands shown on the proposed reversion to acreage and record the survey map accompanied the application, being portioned of the Utah Street, Tahoe Avenue, and the alley through the Block 52, all established on the Hazen Township map, document 391, and that if approved, the combined conditions of the approval for the abandonment reversion to acreage that are listed in the staff report be required.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to appointment E, consideration of possible action, parcel map application for 2 maps creating 7 lots filed by NevDev LLC for properties located on Desert Hills Loop, assessor parcel number 008-176-72, consisting of 16.4 acres in the E1 zoning district, whereby the proposed maps implement the project's tentative parceling plan approved by the Board of County Commissioners on October 5th, 2023. Dean?
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean Patterson, Public Works and Planning, for the record. This is an application for 2 parcel maps located between the ends of a Desert Hills Loop, which, based on these maps, will no longer become a loop. The commissioners have already seen this application last fall in the form of its parceling plan, and so these 2 maps implement that project. It'll be 2 maps in order to create 7 lots. I think this project has been before you enough times that perhaps you don't need the full rundown. There are standard conditions of approval relating to roads, and in this case, it is small extensions of cul-de-sacs in order to touch each of the lots being served. The roads will become part of the county road maintenance system because that area is already being maintained by the county. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions or comments for Dean?
Dean, and right there on parcel 8, it just kind of cuts over to the top of the screen right there, and there's a parcel on the other side. Do you see right there on parcel 8 how it's kind of, as the
I
top of it
s-
comes up, and then the little spot comes over?
Pam, can you scroll down to the next parcel map?
Yeah, we might be looking at the wrong map.
Well, no, they do like 3 lots and then they have a remainder, then they chop up that remainder, so that's what it actually would look like.
Yeah, and it doesn't come right to the street, there's another lot at the top of it. Okay. And there's room for the fire trucks to turn around now on this?
Yeah, the fire marshal said that the existing cul-de-sacs that are there now are mostly adequate, and that these small extensions will still have like hammerheads, or at least they could just simply back 100 feet back to the main cul-de-sacs that are there now. This configuration was developed mostly in coordination with the fire marshal because of their concerns with
'Cause that was the problem
not
last
knowing which
time,
way to
was
go,
turn
yeah.
around.
Is there any other questions or comments? Is there any public comment on this application? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I move to approve the 2 parcel maps entitled first and second parcel map for in NevDiv LLC to divide the assessor's parcel number 008-176-82 into 7 lots, subject to the conditions as listed in the staff report. B, to accept the offer to grant easements identified on the maps. C, to reject the offer to dedicate lands for Desert Hills Loop. And D, to accept the offer to dedicate road facilities for Desert Hills Loop.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys. Appointment F, consideration possible action, approval to transition the State Public Health Lab Satellite Churchill to a county public health lab named Churchill County Rural Public Health Laboratory, and to authorize the Director of Churchill County Social Services to execute the necessary applications to complete the certification and licensing process. Shannon.
Good morning. For the record, Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services. As you know, we've been working on the lab since October of 2020. This was a partnership with UNR and Dr. Pandori to get this launched to build capacity for laboratory services in the rural areas. Since that time, it has been found that we have more capacity than we knew, and would be the best option to turn this into a Churchill County public health lab. The state has supported this. Dr. Pandori and UNR, I've spoken with them, and they also support. This would allow us to start our STI testing, move into substance testing, and all the things that this lab was created for. So we're asking today, this is one of several, and I apologize for the duplication of one of the agenda items, but one of several to make this transition. If there's any questions, I can answer.
Any questions or comments for Shannon?
Do you kind of have an estimate on when this would happen?
This goes through today, and we would have the new contract with the new laboratory director, and he would be here on March 20th. But I would start the certification process. So as soon as we provide notification to Dr. Pandori, we have 30 days to get our new, and that's why I'm asking for permission to sign all these applications. I have 30 days to get all of our CLIAs and all the revisions into the state, and then we have 30 days from that date to be up and running. Our goal is not to have any gap in services, so it would actually move from Dr. Pandori over to lab director. They would give us a pending status, but allow us to continue testing. I have met with the state laboratory oversight. That is the goal.
Any other questions or comments? Is there any public comment on this? See none, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of the lab as presented and to authorize Shannon Ernst, Director of Social Services, to execute required applications for certifications and licenses as required for the transition.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to appointment G, consideration possible action, ratification of an agreement between Churchill County Social Services and the State of Nevada Department of Public Health and Behavioral Health in the amount of $388,028 to support Churchill Lab infrastructure. Shannon?
Again, Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services for the record. So this is one of several funds we've received to support the lab and this transition. In order for us to make this a county lab, we need to make sure it was sustainable. And so there's a 2-year process for us to become CMS approved Medicaid and get insurance billable. So the state has agreed to financially support this lab up to 2 years to make that happen. So this grant here is a portion of that. It pays for the proposed new laboratory director and some other supplies. Previously, I brought forward and had approved 3 other grants, which this would all total $986,000. We have a gap of about $66,000 that I'm working with the state to fill, and it pays for a portion of that remodel to move the lab when it is time. So I'm asking for this to be ratified to complete this process.
Any questions or comments for Shannon? Any public comment? See none, can I get a motion?
I move to approve and ratify the agreement as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Appointment H, consideration possible action, approval of an agreement between Churchill County Social Services and Clinical Laboratory Holdings Company Incorporated in the amount of $5,000 per month for the provision of professional services as laboratory director. Shannon?
Again, for the record, Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services. Today, we're asking for approval to enter into the agreement. This is with Dr. Stokoff. We had actually, County Manager Barbie, myself have met with him. It was a recommendation by the state. This is somebody that they think very highly of. So we've been working with him since November to make sure that he aligns with the priorities the county wants to see in that lab. He supports the expansion and all the things we're looking at doing. His contract is paid 100% over the next 2 years from the funds you just previously approved to support this contract. If there's any questions?
Any questions or comments for Shannon? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement as presented.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. We removed item I from the agenda because that's a duplication of the last one. We'll move to J, consideration possible action, review and approval of a 30-day notification of termination of agreement between Churchill County and the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine for the Satellite Lab Partnership. Shannon?
Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services. So as previously mentioned, I did have a meeting with the state, Stephanie Van Hooser, and also Dr. Pandori last week to discuss this change. This provides the official notification. I will be honest, we've been trying to get an agreement with the UNR and Dr. Pandori since May of 2022, which has never been completed. It's been stuck in UNR's legal. So we really didn't have a formal notification, but we feel it is best suited that we do a formal letter to each individual so that we do have it on record and they understand our intent. So if there's any questions, I can answer.
Any questions or comments? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I move to approve the chair to execute the letter.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Item number K, consideration possible action, review and approval of a 30-day notice to terminate agreement with Dr. Mark Pandori for the lab director services. Shannon?
Again, Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services. Just like the previous item, this would actually go to Dr. Pandori. They are standalone, but work hand in hand. So we would just need approval to submit this letter.
Any questions or comments? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make a motion to approve the letter and authorize the chair to execute.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Appointment L, consideration possible action, ratification of an agreement between Churchill County Social Services and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in the amount of $75,294 for rental assistance, supporting services, and administrative cost. Shannon?
Again, Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services. So just as it states, this is a ratification between HUD and Churchill County Social Services. We've received these funds since 2002. It's increased a little bit over the years. I think we started at $40,000 back in the day. But this supports our rapid rehousing program, which was formerly known as the Transitional Housing Program. This is where we're taking individuals directly from the street. We're getting them placed in housing as it comes available and provide intensive case management for up to 2 years. The goal is to build their self-sufficiency, life skills, so that they can maintain leases on their own. This grant pays for those leases. It also pays for the case management and some administration and training. So we're asking for that ratification today.
Any questions or comments from board or staff? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I move to approve and ratify the agreement as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Appointment M, consideration of possible action, approval of a contract between Churchill County Social Services and Turning Point Incorporated in the amount of $27,640 to complete a behavioral health intercept and suicide reduction plan with resource gap analysis and development of community outcomes. Are you having fun yet?
Shannon
Shannon.
Ernst, Churchill County Social Services. So as I've mentioned in some previous meetings and discussions, the goal was really to come back and do this suicide prevention intercept model planning. One of the things is, the last time we did this was over 7 years ago, and what the goal is you go through and you look at the concerns that we have in the community. You have somebody in crisis, you map out where that crisis would be intercepted. As you go through it, you'll see where are the gaps in the community. Somebody is actively suicidal. Somebody just needs counseling. Somebody has behavioral health issues. It's a lot in this planning to do this project, but once you identify those actual programs that we have here, then you enter into an MOU. The county would say, okay, you've said you provide X, Y, and Z, so we show through this intercept that is happening. Then where those gaps are, we can actually have a true plan to go back to state and other funders, other providers, and say we have a true gap. And so today, this plan is $27,640 through Turning Point. We did receive another one that was just over $100,000, and it's a one-year process. So it has been looked at to proceed with Turning Point. Churchill County School District is a huge partner in this, and I was very excited when they came to me in December and said they wanted to partner to do this. They are obligating $10,000. I'm working with the state to adhere the additional funding to make this happen, but I wanted to at least get this contract. They're concerned that the board would not approve it, and so then I have meetings this afternoon to talk further with the state to help provide those funds. If something came back and they could not provide them at the time we wanted to start, I would work with Sherry to look at, do have funds in our mental health mental health budget and our grants to needy, which would qualify.
Any
there's any
questions or comments for Shannon? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal as presented and authorize the director to execute the necessary contracts.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
I want to mention that I really appreciate your short board actions, as opposed to Chris and Dean, who have these great big long ones. You're welcome.
We try.
Moving on to appointment and consideration of possible action, resolution number 5-2024, a resolution declaring certain property of Churchill County as surplus property and authorize the transfer of said property to the Central Nevada Health District. Shannon?
Again, Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services, and I apologize. This motion is not as short as the previous ones as required. But as you know, when we started really moving forward during the pandemic and created the Churchill County Public Health so that we could do this in response, we partnered with the state for the funding to buy several pieces of equipment, cars to support that activity. So now that it has moved to Central Nevada Health District, it was really the purpose is for them to do those health needs. So we're declaring those items that they need to move forward to them so that it would be removed from Churchill County and to move to Central Nevada Health District.
Any questions or comments for Shannon? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I move to approve resolution number 5-2024, a resolution declaring certain property of Churchill County as surplus property and authorizing the transfer of said property to the Central Nevada Health District.
Second?
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Appointment O, first reading, consideration and possible action, Bill 2024-B, Ordinance 7, an ordinance amending Title III of the Churchill County Code relating to accrual and use of annual leave. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe Sanford for the record. This is an ordinance essentially clarifying and fixing up some of our code in Title III related to annual leave. At the end of the year, we discovered that the definition for when annual leave was accrued was inconsistent within the code between normally gained and when it was done at the end of the year. This just clarifies that, as it has always been done, to accrue at the first day of the pay period after which it is earned. The second thing is the word vacation leave was previously used throughout the code to define annual leave. That doesn't match with what the state defined it as or what it's typically used for or could be used for that isn't always vacation. So this changes the word vacation leave to annual leave throughout the code. And finally, there is a change to establish a requirement that when annual leave is used, at the time it's used, it cannot be used for overtime. This typically doesn't come up, but we have had situations very, very rarely where something is done on a timesheet where when the time was used, it would have been as overtime, and that gets sent back for correction by the comptroller's office, as it should be, but this is just nice to have in the code to clarify that.
Any questions or comments for Joe? Is there any public comment? I'll just read the summary of the bill real quick. This bill revises portions of Title III of Churchill County Code by 1, redefining the term vacation leave as annual leave, 2, clarifying the accrual of annual leave for all employees, 3, defining restrictions on the use of annual leave in certain circumstances and other matters related thereto. If there's no public comment, no comment for board or staff, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing for March 20th, 2024 on Bill 2024B, Ordinance 7.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Moving on to old business A, consideration and possible action, ratification of a proposal from Bruce M. Hahn Real Estate Appraiser and Analyst in the amount of $1,650 to provide professional appraisal services for the purpose of evaluating a conservation easement on property under the ownership of Dodge Brothers Incorporated, assessor parcel number 006-591-06. Jim?
Mr. Chairman, Jim Barbie for the record. This is again that you are very familiar with, one of our naval partnership conservation easement appraisals that we would be doing throughout the year as we work on these. So this one was actually with the Dodge Brothers proposed conservation easement and is in the total value of $1,650 to do the proposed appraisal, and we would ask that you support this.
Is there any questions or comments for Jim? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I move to ratify the proposal from Bruce M. Hahn to perform a summary appraisal report on property under the ownership of Dodge Brothers, Inc., APN 006-591-06.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Moving on to new business A, consideration and possible action. Approval of a special assessment on each taxable parcel in the Lovelock Valley Groundwater Basin totaling $143.08, and to certify the amount of the special assessment to be entered on 2024-2025 secured tax roll by the county treasurer. Linda?
Good morning, members of the board. Linda Rothery, Churchill County Clerk Treasurer for the record. Every year, we receive a letter from the Division of Water Resources for groundwater basin fees to be added to the tax roll as a special assessment. And the letter that's included in this agenda addresses 3 different water basins. However, we were just talking about the Lovelock Lovelock Groundwater Basin. I'm looking for board approval, and I can answer any questions.
Is there any questions or comments for Linda? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to levy a special assessment on each taxable water user in the Lovelock Valley groundwater basin totaling $143.08, and to certify the amount for the special assessments to be entered into on the 2024-2025 secured tax roll by the county treasurer.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Consideration and possible action approval of the special assessment on each taxable parcel in the Dixie Valley Groundwater Basin totaling $8,114.85, and to certify the amount of the special assessment to be entered on the 2024-2025 secured tax roll by the county treasurer. Linda?
Linda Rothery, Churchill County Clerk Treasurer for the record. Just like the previous item, this is for the Dixie Valley Groundwater Basin, and also in the letter that we got from the Nevada Division of Water Resources. I'm looking for board approval on this questions too.
Any questions or comments?
Is this the amount that was last year?
They're similar,
Similar?
yeah. I haven't really done a comparison, to tell you the honest truth.
So it wasn't raised incredibly?
No.
Incredible amount?
No.
Any other questions or comments? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I move to levy a special assessment on each taxable water user in the Dixie Valley groundwater basin totaling $8,114.85, and to certify the amounts for the special assessments to be entered on the 2024-2025 secured tax roll by the county treasurer.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. New business C, consideration and possible action, approval of a special assessment on each taxable parcel in the Brady's Hot Spring Groundwater Basin totaling $11,368.61, and to certify the amount of the special assessment to be entered on the 2024-2025 secured tax roll by the county treasurer. Linda?
Linda Rothery, Clerk Treasurer for the record. As the other two items, this is the Brady Hot Springs Groundwater Basin, and looking for board approval on this, and can answer any questions.
Any questions or comment from staff?
This is the same.
Same, yes.
Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to levy a special assessment on each taxable water user in the Brady's Hot Springs groundwater basin totaling $11,368.61, and to certify the amounts for the special assessments to be entered into on the 2024, 2025 secured tax roll by the county treasurer.
Second it?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Moving on to new business D, consideration possible action, appointment of Don Whitten to the Central Nevada Health District Board to replace Shannon Ernst as a Churchill County representative. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we had originally proposed when we created the Central Nevada Health District through those partnerships, both Shannon and myself served in that capacity to get the committee, or the committee basically put together and started enrolling, and it stated that as we move forward, we would be pulling back from those positions. Right prior to the change of the year, I stepped off and we appointed community member and former county commissioner Pete Olson as one of our two seats that we represent. We are now currently bringing forward the proposal to bring Don Whitten in to replace Shannon. She has a tremendous amount of experience in the food establishment business within the local community. A big part of what the health district does is the inspections for food safety on businesses and entities within that health district, and we feel it's important that we have a representative that speaks from that voice, representing the community and representing those business entities sitting on the health district board. Therefore, we hope you will accept our recommendation and approve the appointment of Don Whitten. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from staff or board? Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I move to appoint Don Whitten to a 2-year term on the Central Nevada Health District Board to replace Shannon Ernst.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to new business E, consideration of possible action, approval of the purchase agreement for real property at 245 Miners Road, APN 006-191-11 in the amount of $265,000. Joe,
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I'll jump in on this and then hand it off to Joe.
go ahead.
Specifically, we're bringing this forward. This has been part of the larger picture of the remodification and reestablishment and expansion of the fairgrounds. There's now the 3C complex. We purchased one dwelling a little over a year ago that was kind of landlocked by the properties that we had directly behind the new Rafter 3C arena. Immediately adjacent to it and landlocked now by county property is this property that we went out and had appraised and have reached this agreement with the property owner that would basically purchase the property. And then I'll let Joe kind of go with some of the details of the contract and the proposal itself. But this will ensure that we own the full property, and we're not basically running these programs around an individual's roughly 1 acre lot.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Joe Sanford for the record. This is a fairly standard purchase agreement. It's $265,000, which is what the property was appraised for approximately 4 months ago. The only difference in this particular agreement is that the individual who is purchasing the property is under contract for another property set to close on March 14th, so closing will be very soon. But due to some personal medical issues, he's unable to leave the property until May 15th, which is why we have allowed him to continue to remain in that property under a lease agreement, which is also included in this packet. I would ask that in addition to the recommended board action, to make it just a little longer for Buzz, if you would authorize the county manager to sign any of the necessary agreements to close on this property.
Any questions or comments from board or staff? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase agreement for real property at 245 Miners Road, APN 006-19111, in the amount of $265,000, and to allow the county manager to sign any agreements that are necessary. Is that okay?
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. New business F, consideration and possible action, adoption of Resolution 7-2024, a resolution adopting a fee schedule for all Churchill County departments. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe Sanford again for the record. This is a project that's been in the works for a while, but as you may be aware, there's a number of fees for all of the government services throughout Churchill County. Some of them are set by statute, but a great number are set by resolution of this board. It's been a fairly ad hoc process over the years with them getting done occasionally here and there as a specific department needs to update any specific fee. It makes it difficult for the public to identify all of the fees that are potentially going to be charged. And so we have accumulated and organized all of the fees that are currently being charged throughout the county to be adopted in this resolution with a couple of minor changes. One of the changes is to set an annual fee for the liquor licenses. As you may recall, last month we had adopted an ordinance to change liquor licenses from a monthly to an annual, and so this is the resolution setting that annual fee. Additionally, we have a substantial fee increase for the dedication of water rights for the erection of buildings. Under our code, when a person is looking to get a building permit, there is a requirement that if they're going to connect to the county water system, that they dedicate an appropriate amount of water to cover their use. In this particular case, there is an ability to satisfy that dedication requirement by a payment in lieu of actual water rights. Now, our code establishes that as 1.5 times the value of an underground water right, which we have valued in this case at $6,000 an acre foot, so 1.5 times would be $9,000 per acre foot. Now, single-family residence is required to dedicate 1.12 acre feet. Multifamily residence is, I think, 0.42, but Chris is in the audience looking at me, so he may have better details on exactly that number.
Any questions or comment from board or staff?
Linda, with your fees, these are pretty much close to what they are now, right? With your marriage license fees and things? There's not much of an increase, is there?
No fees were changed except for those two.
Just those two, right? These are the same, okay. Just making sure. Okay.
Is there any other questions or comments from board or staff? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I move to adopt Resolution 7-2024, adopting a fee schedule for county departments.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. New business G, consideration possible action, approval of an early retirement incentive for Ronnie Bell at a cost of approximately $67,000. Joff?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For the record, Joff Stark, Human Resources Director for Churchill County. Here this morning with a request for an early retirement incentive purchase for Sergeant Ronnie Bell at the Sheriff's Office. This is a program that has been established to help facilitate folks to be able to have an early retirement. In this case, it's for law enforcement, so that one requires the employee to have worked for the county for at least 20 years, and they'll be retiring with 25 years of law enforcement PERS credit. And it's a 50-50 match. The county would match up to 18 months. If an employee purchased 18, the county would match at 18 months. We always do this as a calculation to see if there will be a savings for, in terms of looking at that person's position at the first step of the range. If we were to hire someone at the first step of the range, for a 3-year period. And based on looking at for this position, there would still be, even after the purchase, a savings of approximately $48,000. It might be a little bit less, as noted in the agenda report, because sometimes we don't have the final numbers that PERS will tell us for the cost, but there will still be a substantial savings based on the way we compute this. We asked for the board to approve this. Sergeant Bell is here as well. He's worked for us for over 21 years. He definitely qualifies. He's bought the time that he needs to have. He will be retiring with 25 years of service, looking to leave us in August of 2024, or maybe a little earlier, depending on other leave conversions. So with that, I put it before the board for consideration.
Any questions or comments for Joff? Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
My turn? Your turn. I'll make a motion to approve the early retirement incentive for Ronnie Bell as outlined.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to new business H, consideration of possible action, application to PERS to renew the certification of the emergency manager position for Churchill County as a critical labor shortage position. Joff?
Good morning again. For the record, Joff Stark, Human Resources Director for Churchill County. Our emergency manager position has typically been a part-time position, but we have had challenges in the past recruiting for that position and finding someone who's qualified for a part-time position who maybe hasn't retired out of PERS. A lot of times we're looking for people who have certain certifications and certain backgrounds. So about 4 years ago, we did apply to PERS to have this position of emergency manager approved as a critical labor shortage position under PERS regulations. That designation only applies for 2 years, and then you have to recertify that. And so we did that 2 years ago, and I'm here again at this meeting asking that, based on the information provided, that the board designate the emergency manager as a critical labor shortage position. And that essentially allows us to hire someone who is already retired from a PERS position into that without having to pay PERS for the position. Normally, the position is scheduled to work 19 hours a week, but as we see, when an emergency arises, that person needs to step up the hours, and we can't keep it under the PERS limit of 19 hours per week. And so that's what we asked for today. This would go into effect when the other one expires, which is, I believe, April 6th, yes, of 2024. So I'll answer any questions you may have.
Any questions or comments for Joff? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I move to designate the emergency manager position as a critical labor shortage, CLS, pursuant to NRS 286.523 in accordance with PERS criteria effective April 6, 2024.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Thanks, Joff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did anyone want to pull one of the consent agenda items? If not, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items as listed.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Does anyone want to consider any future agenda items? Seeing none, we'll go to Commissioner and Management Staff Report. We'll start with you, Justin.
I have nothing to pass.
I had an IEC meeting, which was very interesting. It was my first one as a commissioner. So there was an after meeting with grazers. It was very eye-opening and informational, so that was good. Do you have anything to add, Buzz?
Nope, I don't have anything.
Sherry?
No, thank you, though.
Joe?
No, thank you.
Jim?
Couple of things. We did interview in the last 2 weeks for the Public Works administrator position or director position. And we did make the offer, and Randy Hines has accepted and will be coming on board somewhere around the 18th of this month. And so we're excited to welcome him on board as the new director of Public Works, who then, of course, will be reporting up through the assistant county manager to Chris. Tons of meetings around FRTC. We have a tremendous amount going on there. The IEC meeting was very informative, and we may be looking at bringing some a letter or communications actions to the commission in the very near future based on those meetings. Part of that conversation was about the timelines on the direct conveyances of the 14,000 acres that are supposed to come to the county. BLM is not working fast, I think it's safe to say and fair to say. They're looking at probably a 2-year process from now, from when we get a meeting scheduled, which of course we started with meetings with them over a year ago, and that was approved over a year ago. But here we are. So they're looking at a 2-year process to get those properties, part of those properties, transferred to the county. Additionally, the checkerboard, I feel like, is just kind of off the radar completely. They're talking 3 years, but they don't have any kind of a plan that identifies or aligns with how they got to those 3 years. Been involved with the Ag Advisory Committee at the high school and working through advertising the ag teacher position there, and it looks like they're getting close to being able to make a hire there, and we're excited by that. Met with the fire department. They have one of the new fire trucks is being completed and going through its final inspection process, and so they'll be reaching out to us very soon to have a pushing into the firehouse ceremony celebration that everyone will be invited to. Additionally, met yesterday in Gardnerville with some of the folks that manage the bull sale portion and of that event and that weekend that we is kind of a Churchill County run piece, and was very positively received, the bull sale this last year, and the activities and events that are happening there, and we'll have new exciting activities moving into 2025 to be announcing in the near future. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Linda?
We are, let's see, property taxes were due on Monday, and we're busy with all the people running in to pay. Pay your taxes, you got 10-day grace period. We're working on our delinquent property tax sale, and we jumped from our presidential preference primary right into our regular primary. We are in the first week of candidate filing, and there's another week there. All of those people that have filed is on our website for anybody that is curious. We are working around the clock, testing out our new state top-down voter registration system, and that's going to go forward into this year, and they want us to go live on April 1st with that. So the transition and dual entry has just been a lot of work, but we'll get there.
Thank you, Linda. Anything to add, Pam? Ann? Nothing? Okay. Claims and payroll will go around. At this time, is there any public comment? Okay, we are adjourned.